Hello and welcome to the Up Move. Merry Christmas, everybody. I am Anthea, and on the call today, I've got Iffy, Sheni, and also Tasha, and we
Hey,
are the
hey.
founders of
Hello.
the Up Move. So, again, we just wanted to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, and we hope that despite whatever is going on in the world, you guys are having an opportunity to spend some time with friends, to self-reflect, whatever it is that you need to do to enjoy this Christmas holiday. So, as we're coming towards the end of the year, we thought it would be a good idea for us to kind of just get together and, have a discussion around what has 2020 meant. It's going to be different for everybody, and this is just our unique view about how this year has impacted our lives. So, just to kick off, Iffy, I'll come to you first. What would you say that you've learned the most from 2020?
What I've learnt the most. Um, I think just to appreciate life, you know, to appreciate where you are and recognize that um, everyone's on their own path. But there's like so much. There's so much I think that we can take from this year. Obviously, those that know me know that my dad passed away this year, so that was a lot to get over. But also, I think just everything else that was going on. Personally, I had a baby, sort of turned out to be a lockdown baby. We have the pandemic that's like pretty much changed the world, but in an interesting way. I think as negative as the pandemic has been, there's also been a lot of opportunity. A lot of people that probably wouldn't have started businesses have had to start businesses. A lot of people that had businesses that, was the thing that they did had to shut down those businesses. So I think it's really given people pause for thought. It's really sort of changed perception and how you see things, and made everybody, from government down to your common person, like just think about things differently.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's been sort of a pretty big shift. And then obviously, I know before the recording we talked about us being born out of the George Floyd's,
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to say situation, murder, whatever we want to call it, but how that shifted things, and how this time it's not like it's not happened before. We've had that before, but this time, everybody's pulling together and everybody's sort of trying to collectively make some kind of difference. So I think just that sort of mindset shift, I think, has been a big thing this year, not just for myself, but I see that in a lot of other people as well. Yeah. So I'll let Tash go next.
Yeah, so for me, for this year, always grateful for life
Mm-hmm.
as well. Um, and also just mirroring off some of what Iffy has said, like during the whole lockdown, the pandemic, a lot of people lost their jobs, but I didn't. So I've been very grateful to be able to have a source of income. But it's also made me think that what if I didn't have a job? I wouldn't have an income.
Mm-hmm.
So it's made me open up my eyes to, you know, venturing out to get multiple sources of income so that I'm not relying on one income, because you just never know what the future holds. So in that, for me, just the gratefulness of having the opportunity to then look at other stuff, and another thing is, again, what Iffy was saying about the George Floyd situation. Well, not situation, but as you said, was murder. But just making everyone's eyes just wake up even the footballing world, then taking the knee, just things like that is making a difference. And it wasn't just for a week, it's ongoing, and you're installing it into their mind over and over, just so we can be equal. We're not trying to be above anyone, we're just trying to be equal. So it's all these little steps and all these little things that we're trying to help doing in our spare time, just to bring out that information to people. Even during even during the lockdown, people's mental health, people have needed much more support that they're not getting. People have to make Zoom calls, people have to make phone calls. They're not comfortable with that. How there's certain things that people have to take on extra. You're losing your job, your kids are not at school, you're going through some stuff. Where do you go? So this is again, things that we think about and think of ways that we can help each other and help everyone in the future. But yeah, those are just a couple of things that I've reflected on this year. So Shen, I'll pass it on to you.
2020 has been, I don't want to use the word unprecedented, because I think that word got overused a fair bit at the beginning of the pandemic. I think, we've seen the world shift a great deal, from even just the fact of this whole working from home, people having to teach their kids at home, having to kind of lock down in place, not being able to do the things that normally would, as you even said, for mental health release, if you wanted to go and exercise or go to socialize or see your family, all of those things have kind of had restrictions and been taken away from us. So it's been a really difficult year for a lot of people, as you've mentioned, with the whole people losing their jobs. I myself was kind of at risk earlier this year with potentially my role being taken away. So it's definitely been a challenging year for people. I've tried to kind of myself focus more on what we've gained, because I feel like we have, as much as what we have gained this year, there's been a significant amount of loss for what we've experienced as well. There's a lot of freedoms have been taken away. There's time we can't get back with some of our loved ones as well, that it's just not been the ideal situation. But I've tried to kind of have a glass half full approach as opposed to a glass half empty approach. So it's definitely made me be more grateful for the things that I've had, as opposed to always, because I think we're always kind of focusing on the next thing ahead, and sometimes it maybe you need to stop and take stock of what you have and be grateful for what you have, because it can be a heck of a lot more than what the person next to you has. It's also important, I think, to just be aware that everybody's going through something. And I think if we're looking out for the next person, it's almost like a circle. If I'm looking out for Anthony's looking out for Iffy, if he's looking out for me, I'm looking out for Tash, and Tash looking out for me. If everyone's looking out for someone else outside of themselves, I think we can come together more as a community. And I think that probably has been one of my biggest takeaways as well from this year, is how much everyone's kind of, particularly in our generational group, how we're kind of all coming from the same mindset together to kind of wanting to move forward and wanting to make changes in the community. There was something else I was going to say, but it's completely gone out of my head. But yeah, it's just, taking the time to reflect, be grateful for what we've got, but also now pushing the boundaries to take on the next challenges of what's going to come forward, because we could all be laughing and going, wow, boy, don't you miss 2020? You never know what's around the corner. So, you don't want to really say that sentence, but you just don't know. So I think, just be grateful for the blessings that we have received so far, and the ones that we still don't know that are down the road, and just continue to look out for each other, because there's a lot in the world. But particularly, I think one was a good thing, that was what I was going to say, is that what was really good is that by having the platform that we've created and sharing this stuff, I know personally I was using my own Instagram account to share a lot of the stuff and information I was coming across. I had a lot of people actually reach out to me, both colleagues from work and just general people that I liaise with in the baking industry. And a lot of the stuff that they were just not aware of, and it's made people kind of say that they're now going to sit with their kids and have those kind of conversations that they wouldn't have done before. And I thought, it may sound silly, but in my small little pool, I was able to make an influence to someone, and to at least, I think 4 or 5 people I had kind of reach out to me and say, some of the stuff you've shared has been really interesting. Do you mind if I share it on? Do you mind if I ask you some questions? I'm not one of those go look at Google type of people. Fully appreciate the people that do say that, because it's true. We're not walking encyclopedias. But I do think that, yes, there is a level of some responsibility to educate where you can. So I think that was been a nice thing to be able to do, and to be able to use the information that's
making a difference
to myself as well. Especially, I think it's important to continue that conversation in the UK, because I definitely got a lot of feedback that some people did think that we didn't have a racial situation in the UK, and that it was only an American problem.
Yeah.
Particularly working for an American company, it's very interesting to see that dynamic. I actually overheard my mum have a conversation with someone at work, and she said, I thought we didn't have a race issue here because we have diversity and equality policies in the UK. Wow.
Get out of jail free card, yeah?
So I think the conversation needs to keep happening, like you said, and I think I'm sure if you said it, just keeping the movement going forward, because I'm liking that it's still a movement, it's still going forward. Yes, unfortunately, it's not making as many headlines as hoped as before, but the fact that we're seeing a lot more actions and a lot more things coming out of it, I just think this is the beginning. It's a change. Change doesn't happen immediately, and we just need to keep that change.
It's a start.
So Anth, on to you.
So it's interesting you say that. There's like a few things that I guess to a degree I'd echo. I'd probably say that, like, for me, the main thing has been around, and I think I'd say similarly for all of us, is gratitude. And it's not just being grateful for life, like gratitude as a concept, to know that every day you wake up and express gratitude, because even some of the most simplest things that we have, we probably took for granted before all of them were taken away, like even just freedom, being able to say, let me go out my house and walk down the street. There was a time where, we weren't even able to do that. And that, I think that was one of the biggest things I had to get my head around, because I was just like, I don't understand. How do you get to tell me when I leave my house and when I go and do this, that, like that whole notion of freedom? And so I definitely express gratitude in so many ways, because, like you said, we've lost people. There's been so much, loss, and it's not just loss in terms of death. It's just loss in terms of so many things, like Tash mentioned about the jobs and, all of these other things. We've experienced so much loss. So to be grateful amidst all of the kind of things that are happening is definitely something that we should practice more often. Because it just kind of helps keep us humble and grounded and allows us to focus on the right thing. So again, Shen, when you're talking about, glass half full, that's the gratitude side of it. I'm not lacking, right? I'm here, I'm not lacking. I have everything I need, I'm alive. And it's just kind of keeping that momentum going. And then I'd say probably the biggest thing for me was this year is around clarity. And I kind of use that as the umbrella, because it's like my life has changed a lot this year, and it's from clarity, and that clarity came from stillness. So I've been somebody who's literally worked since I was like 16. And apart from like holidays and, a couple of short breaks in between like contracts and stuff, I've just worked. And so when we got to that point, it was just like, you ain't going anywhere, right? It was, how do I be still? How do I slow down? How do I look at my life like holistically and figure out, how I can become more whole and more happy within myself? And so it's from kind of like slowing down, being still, and then getting that clarity around, okay, so what am I doing? What do I want to be doing? And how do I go about doing that? And it's just kind of led me down a kind of path of like personal development, which has just opens up so much opportunity and possibility. So, if he was talking about the situation, and I know we were saying that word, but what happened in the States with George Floyd, it hit me differently. And I think it hit the world differently because we were still, right? We weren't just going off doing our own thing and all of that. We were literally still, and nobody could say they didn't see that, because no one had anything else to do, right? We were there. We were all there watching. And so when things happen and the masses see something like that, and again, it's been mentioned on the call so far, there's a shift. And that shift is not just an external one, it's also something internal, where you think to yourself, why am I here? Like, what is my purpose? What is the point of me being here? you know, is what I'm already doing, is that enough? How is that how is that helping other people? And you know, if he had a quote, which I know I'm going to mess up, so I'm but basically it's, you know, essentially the idea is that what are you going to do to make the dash between your birthday and your death date mean something, right?
For real, yeah.
Because we've had all of that, you know, the sunrise, the sunset, the birth, the death, but what did we do while we were here?
Yeah.
And especially within the kind of coaching space that I'm in, I see a lot of people really scared to be doing things. And, you know, I think if anything this year is teaching me is to be still, figure out what it is that I can do to help. And something Tasha mentioned earlier about small steps or small things. Yeah, so if we're collectively and constantly doing small things, they will make a big difference. And so just being a part of this platform, other things that I'm doing and plan to do, it just means that we can help make a better contribution in this world. And especially for us, for some of the struggles we've had, we know that we're helping people within our community as well. Shining a light on them, because there's room for everybody. There's literally no point trying to compete. You know, people will come to you or they won't. It's that simple. It's their choice, not ours. So the more we can spread the message and, you know, uplift each other, motivate and inspire people, and, you know, kind of get to a place where we understand that external circumstances are going to happen and we have no control of them, but who we are in those moments will allow us to continue to motivate and inspire, and things like that. So yes, I definitely say like the whole gratitude thing, and also that kind of being still to gain clarity and knowing, you know, what I'm doing. And I guess kind of leading on from that is, what would you now say is the kind of like one, let's say one key thing that you are looking forward to for 2021? And this can be for yourself, it could be for others, whatever, but just what comes to mind, like what's the thing that you're looking forward to for 2021? Do you want to kick off, Iffy?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of just one thing.
Right.
I think, like, just based off of like what you said, like literally making a difference. You know, like what am I doing to make a difference? And this is not just like this stuff that I'm doing at work, but not just at work. You know, what other things am I doing that, you know, is going to change something for someone? Who am I mentoring? Who am I helping to bring up? You know, who am I supporting? What sorts of people am I talking to? You know, how am I changing things for, you know, whatever it is, whether it's the prostate cancer charity or, you know, whatever. But I think that really has been my focus in building some of that this year. So I think next year it's really just trying to make sure that I execute on those. I've been doing a lot of planning this year, and you know, we've set up this platform. I've set up a few other things, but it's really looking at, okay, how do I just, you know, how do I execute while still doing everything else, 3 kids, the, you know, life in general, and still make all of that work plus this stuff work. But it doesn't feel like work, if that makes sense. It feels like it's something that I want to do, so I know I will make it work. But yeah, that's what 2021 is going to be for me. Just, you know, just executing, making sure that I am actually moving forward and making a difference. All right, Tash. Sorry, I keep forgetting that we're meant to be passing it.
Pass the baton.
Making sure you was finished before I like jump in there. You know?
Like, yeah, shut up. I'm gonna go now.
Relay. What?
Yeah. So, like for me, 2021 is, I suppose, working on those small goals. Everyone always thinks of like the bigger picture, but you've got to make those small goals to reach those, you know, medium goals, long-term goals.
Yeah.
It could be like in anything in life, but just to get that mindset, you know, that's where people make the change.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people, you know, they say they're not this, they say they're not that, but in the long run they are, because they don't make a change to make a difference or change the way they think in situations, or even like losing weight. If they can't do the small things, then how are you going to get to the long term? So for me, it's that whole mindset shift of working on the short term goals to achieve long term goals. So yeah, that's the big thing for me for 2021. So over to you, Shen.
Well, there was me sat there going, oh, wow, go on holiday would be nice. But okay, fine, if we're going to go real deep.
How is that going to help the Black community?
Tourism has been one of the most affected things during the pandemic, actually.
campaigning on holiday.
But no, for real, this year has really been like a serious focus. As I mentioned earlier, like I've had to focus really on my work pursuits more than my other goals with launching my own personal business. So like I said, luckily that's kind of, I'm kind of coming out of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel for that. So it means now that I can put some more time to actively launching my business in 2021 and kind of having that whole stillness. I've had a chance to kind of refocus on what I want to do. So I think I was trying to do too much of what everybody else was saying I should do, instead of kind of going, well, I'm doing it. Why am I not deciding what I want to do? So that, again, that whole being still to kind of move forward is, that stuff is worth its weight in gold. It truly does. You really have to sometimes just stop to really kind of listen to even just yourself. But yeah, so that, and by that contribution, I'll be adding another Black business to the Black economy, which is always a good thing. And definitely, like what everyone else has said, is like, you know, trying to do those things that, because I think I was sitting back a lot and not taking in what skill I can share and how I can help share my experiences. If I can teach anyone, I've been doing it kind of informally, but I'd like to kind of formalize that process to kind of help more. Definitely want to do more volunteering as well. Because as I said, it's really important to kind of, when you sit back and appreciate what you have, you kind of want to make sure others are getting the same treatment. It's just kind of navigating that within the realm of 2021. And yes, I'm going to say a holiday would be nice. I don't care.
You're getting vaccinated first, though, yeah? I said you're getting vaccinated first. But I know that's a whole different conversation. So.
This is not the time for that conversation.
That's not choices at all, but yeah, I think I read something the other day that said we've had AIDS, we've had cancer, and none of those things have a vaccine. But COVID comes in and we've got a vaccine within 8 months. Let's do some longevity studies, people. But yeah, that's another conversation. But yeah, I'm actually just looking forward to what I'm hoping that we've kind of had our teething problems of this year, so that going into next year, whatever that may mean, if it's more lockdowns, if it's more remoteness and all that, that there's more structure to it as opposed to us having to react. I'm hoping there's a bit more proactiveness with how we have to live for next year, because I can't be repeating this year.
I hear that.
So it's interesting. I normally kind of have like a theme or something, like normally I'll pray on something and then I get like a word or a theme or a concept or whatever. I definitely think 2021 is about growth. So that's scaling. So just growth in terms of, you know, like my own personal development, growth in terms of my business, growth in terms of my relationships. So strengthening relationships so that they grow. And also in terms of, like, I guess my business is that I'm getting more focused on, you know, service, like serving people who are too scared to contribute to the world. So, you know, a lot of the time, as I said, is that there are people who could make such an impact, you know, either within their small circle, their slightly wider network, or the world. And there is just a fear or a thought or, as Tash said, that kind of mindset that prevents them from showing up in the world in the way that they have basically been born to. Like, we're all created for our own purpose. So I really want to just speak to people who feel like they're not good enough to have, you know, that platform themselves, or to go after that business, or to have that relationship, or to do those things, because these are just thoughts. and these are stories that we tell ourselves. None of these are real. And so if we were able to have more people who were just going out into the world, just doing the things that, you know, their what their purpose is, the world would be better. Because if you think about even just us as a circle, us as a four, we also have our friends outside of this circle. So anything that we do will impact, you know, how many people, and then exponentially that impacts how many people. So we could actually change the world. And that's why it is important for us to do one small thing, because the one small thing that we do, somebody sees and says, oh my God, that's possible for me. And then they start to do one small thing, and someone else looks at them and says, do you know what? I'm going to do that as well. And we just have that knock-on effect. And the whole point of having, you know, this platform and the kind of things that we want to do is just having that community. Just, you know, like Shen said, like being able to mentor and volunteer and help other people have some of the experiences that we have and they may not ever get a chance to have for whatever reason. So 2021 is definitely something I'm looking forward to. I know there's a lot of uncertainty, so I would just like to encourage people that if it's uncertain, it means we can't control it. So there's no point focusing on it. The main thing is to look at what we can control. What things can you do in your world, with your people, with your resources that will help you move forward, regardless of what's going on in the world? You know, like Tash said, if this thing carries on or something else happens, do I have enough income streams to survive it? You know, if not, focus on that. If you're in a relationship or whatever it is, just look at what can I do, and just make sure that you are focusing on your mental health, being whole and being happy, because you don't need anyone else to be happy. And once you operate from a place of happiness, that energy just flows to people and it motivates and inspires people that you may not even realize are motivated and inspired by you. So definitely growth is a kind of like a really big kind of theme for me for next year. So I'm looking to do a lot of things and connect with a lot of people and just get on as many platforms as possible, as well as building my own, so that we can keep these connections going and, you know, keep the knowledge spreading and build up our community and then some. So yeah, so that's 2021.
Amen to 2021.
Yes. So 2021. So yeah, so I guess is there any kind of final thoughts that you want to give to those? If I could go first, actually, just to say a big thank you to everybody who follows the Up Move, who has attended any of our, you know, webinars, who's watched our videos, you know, commented, liked, engaged with us in any way, reached out, collaborated. Like, it's really important and we appreciate all of it. And if anyone is interested in jumping on a live with us, or you have a skill or a talent or something that you want to share with our followers, please just reach out, drop us a DM, let us know, and we can work something out, because we're definitely just about, you know, unite and prosper. That is what it is. Let's get together, share our knowledge and help us all elevate, because like I said earlier, there is definitely room for everyone, and so we want to promote that as much as possible. Tash,
Definitely.
any final thoughts?
Yeah, it's just basically what you've just said. Thank you to everyone. And if people don't know, if people know, of people that we could benefit from, if they can just share the experience as well. Sharing helps. Any materials that we have or anyone that could be beneficial to us, if we could just share, just so, you know, we can get out there, we can help as many people as we can, because, you know, a lot of people need this. So yeah, just get out there and share the opportunity. I hope you all sit down and thought of what you're grateful for this year as well, and what you're going to do for 2021, so that you have it in mind and you are working towards it. Don't wait for the new year and Happy New Year, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Forget all of that. You probably do that every year, and by day 2 you see you're going to lose weight, you're not going to eat chocolate, and then you start eating chocolate or something like that. Just open up your mind, really think about what 2020 has done to you and what it's done to the whole world, and how you're going to make a difference to your life in 2021. So just take that on board, and good luck and Happy New Year. Jen?
Just obviously thank you to everyone that's been following and sharing. We do appreciate it again, and hope that we can continue this going forward, more collaboration with any resources and any people that want to connect with us. Also, just from personal perspective, is just making sure that you kind of just know that you got through 2020. It's been a hard year for everybody. I'm not trying to like discourage that. We're not to look forward, not to stretch, not to achieve, but just be appreciative that you've made it this far. You've made it through 2020. That's a big achievement. You may just, everybody's had their obstacles, everybody's had their challenges, and it may look like, yes, of course, there are some people that literally have reached for the stars and achieved it, but just be grateful that you've made it as far as you've had to. So I'm a true believer that, you know, God opens the right doors at the right time. So just be mindful that, yes, of course, the opportunities are still now to come for 2021. So whereas if you were ever feeling shy about reaching for something or hesitant, push that hesitation away, because you just don't know what time we've got left. But just be proud that you've made it this far, and you've got 2021 to keep going and grabbing and taking hold of new challenges with both hands. But again, Happy New Year to everyone, and good luck for 2021, because I do believe it's going to be a better change for all of us. And over to Iffy.
Thanks. And yeah, I think I'll just echo everything that you guys have said. I'm so thankful for, I think, the people we've spoken to, the people that we've engaged with, like some of the sessions that we've done, I've learned something. Like, you know, I have learned a ton, you know, whether that's from like just a finance perspective, like the amount of stuff that I just didn't really think about that, you know, I do differently now. The mental health one, I think, was massive as well. That was, you know, I didn't even expect it to be as big as it was. So, you know, if anything, we at least affected me, because, you know, because I feel like I learned, you know, a lot. And you know, obviously, like, we're sister friends anyway, so we all chat together. But I'm grateful that, you know, we're doing this together. And I know it's like a side thing that we do. We all have our day jobs, we all have things that we're doing outside of this, but I still think it's something that's really important for us to do. I'm glad that we're doing it, and yeah, it's nice to just have the connections, to have people that, you know, are interested in what we're doing, and it's also nice that, you know, there's so many people that have that similar thought of, let's work together, let's do something, you know, let's all try and collaborate and share and, you know, communicate. And that's something that I've not seen before. So I remember having a conversation right back in June when all this happened. I can't remember if it was my brother and we were talking about, you know, if we think anything's really going to change, you know, is anything really going to be different this time than it has been before? And I think it will. You know, I think you know, from a generational perspective, like we said earlier, there's a shift happening, and everyone is pivotal in that shift, no matter how little, you know, it has that butterfly effect. You know, your little thing affects this little thing, affects that little thing. So, you know, I just feel that, you know, it's important for us to keep connecting, to keep talking, to keep sharing, to keep pushing forward. Like, as little as it seems, it all makes a difference. So I'm excited to continue in the new year, hopefully to be a little bit more consistent. I know, you know, like I said, we're doing this as a side thing, but hopefully to be a bit more consistent and, you know, continue doing this, and just continue connecting and learning from each other and about each other, and growing ourselves as a community, and just, you know, continually talking about realizing our greatness and making sure that, you know, our younger see that as well. You know, they're able to see, you know, all the things that they can be. So yeah, just wishing everyone a happy new year. Excited to engage with you in the new year. And yeah, it's been fun. It's been really good. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you. So just before we wrap up, just a couple of things. Please like, share and comment on this video. Let us know your thoughts. What are you most grateful for in 2020, and what are you most looking forward to in 2021? Whatever you decide to do, we hope you have a really happy new year as you celebrate exiting 2020, whatever that meant to you, and going into a new year with a new focus. And one of the posts that we put on our platform earlier on this week was, don't set resolutions, set intentions. And this is really important. Going on from what Tash said, is the fact that we get into a habit of waiting to the end of the year, set a resolution that's unrealistic for us, and then we fall off a few days, few weeks, whatever into it. Set an intention. Decide what you're willing to commit to, who you are trying to be in 2021, and everything that you do should be taking actions to become that person or to do that thing. And you'll find that you'll make a lot more progress by setting intentions and committing to them. So whatever you decide to do, thanks for joining us. Let us know where you're from. Let us know your thoughts. Share this with as many people as you can. And Happy New Year. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye.